Ladies, gentlemen, and lords of all manner, the time is here to open up your own medieval fiefdom and kick your village into gear. So to put it as simply as possible, with the release of early access for Manor Lords happening earlier today, a bunch of people are diving face first into the game for the first time. And while some people know exactly what they are getting into and just want to take this a little bit relaxed, others may have the wrong impression, or hey, maybe you just want a hand getting your feet wet in the world of Manor Lords. So today I'm going to go over just a number of tips to basically just give you the smoothest possible early game rise up in Manor Lords itself, get your actual town started off on the right foot, and get you as ready as possible for what's to come when it comes to combat as well. First things first, we should be very clear about what the game really is. There has been some misunderstanding that the game has a large focus on large-scale RTS combat, but the truth is, the combat is not at all considered a major portion of this game. It is a chill city builder at its heart, with combat a bit on top of that. That said, the combat exists, and it makes the city building a bit tougher, and even though it isn't a main part of the game, it is still part of the game, and there's ways to make yourself a bit stronger in the combat regard early on too. So we are going to go over all that. Starting off then, before you even start building anything on your plot of land, you want to have a look at it with the different overlays in the game. This will show you if any of the soil that you have is ideal for planting different kinds of crops. As well, you can see different various valuable resource nodes by default. Any area that has fertile soil or a resource node you want to avoid building directly on top of, as those can of course all be used to generate you goodies later on. With that said, you can start putting your town together. Keep in mind that you want more oxes as soon as you can, as more oxes makes every early game action move much faster, as oxes are required to move logs around. The next question that you may have is, how does population work in Manor Lords? You start off with a few families living in your land, and as you meet their wants and needs, they will become happier. The happier your current villagers are, the more you will have move in, and who you then also have to make happy to get more villagers, so on and so forth. As far as managing the population then, there is a finite amount of space within your plot of land that you can work with within the game, so you do have to consider from an early stage whether you want to prioritize aesthetics or efficiency, because you can have a city that looks nice, but it will simply have a lower potential cap of citizens than a much more efficiently run little box of a city. Either way, that decision is entirely up to you, but it's one that you should probably make relatively early on. For an example of what I mean, when placing housing, you actually create a sort of zone for houses to be built within. This even includes yard space, which can later be used for sort of artisan crafting, which generates income from higher level homes once you level them up. So yard space is actually quite important in this game, but the thing is, if you finagle it around a little bit, you can make these plots sort of double up and fit two families in one plot, which only leaves them 1 yard for 2 families, but it still saves on a ton of space while upping your population, and population is what matters when it comes to things like combat. But obviously, this will look a bit cramped, it'll ruin the aesthetics of it, and it'll be just sort of weird, but it is an option that you can go with. On which note though, while this doesn't seem to apply to actual residential buildings properly or anything else that works with the grid plotting function, any actual buildings or systems that you have to manually put in place in the world yourself can be fully relocated at no cost, letting you move things like wells or logging camps, for example, around as you please to fit your personal aesthetic needs in that moment, not even what you wanted 5 minutes ago. So while, as I said, it is definitely important to make some decisions early on to sort of direct the rest of your choices for after, you aren't by any means locked in as much as some other city builders will get you to be. You can move things as you please to just have stuff set up the way that you prefer at any stage really. The next major thing is your market area. I recommend just making a nice sizable square, and then you can sort of designate it as a market the same way that you do residential areas. This will just sort of fill that area with a plot, and the plot that you decide, the actual size of it, will decide the number of stalls that will fit within it. This will make tons of your villagers happy within the general radius of it, which again leads to more people moving in, and so what you want to do is just continue to build more housing options close to the market stall area that you created. The next step after that is level 2 housing, as higher level housing gives you more income to work with as well, which makes you have more ways to make your villagers happy, which again gives you more ways to get villagers to move in. Again, this is accomplished by just taking care of the wants and needs of specific residents one at a time. So basically the game is just sort of asking you to pay proper attention to each one of your serfs, to really form some sort of bond with each of them, even if it is only that of Lord and Manor resident. Past that, the last major thing that I really want to get into here before you are set up properly for the early game then is the development board. This is your sort of skill point system within Manor Lords, where you get the ability to actually unlock certain advancements through your gameplay, and you choose which paths you want to go down as a result, and in which way, which lets you specialize each time that you make a town in different ways that fit the plot of land that you've been plopped down within. The 4 sections of the board then are mining and forging together. This is the tree that lets you create weapons and armor workshops, which then outfits your citizens with actual offense and defense and makes you far more capable of combat when the time comes. So if you want to be a combat-focused village, this is the path that you want to beeline very early on. But no matter what, I would recommend at least a bit of investment here early, just to sort of protect you. There's also the hunting section of this board for gathering from wild animals, the gathering and farming section for plants of all kinds and processing them as well, of course growing them within your lands, and then there is also a trade section, which eases the creation of trade routes throughout lands and increases the value of things that you sell and things like that, just making your trade market much more far efficient. So essentially there are just a ton of different ways to specialize yourself through this. Ore and weapons of war, combat, or even selling these weapons to others, food and resources, making yourself such a valuable hub of sustenance that everybody has to love you, hunting and providing in the exact same vein, or just becoming the absolute hub of commerce so that nobody would ever move against you because it would just be very bad for business. While this game was made by a solo developer, there's quite a lot of depth to it, plenty of different ways to play. But this is pretty much the best advice that I can give you for a nice early start in Manor Lords that would fit pretty much any playstyle, with one little exception here, one little bonus: you can actually look at your village in third person. You can go into third person and just literally walk around your village, have a nice look, see what you've built on a ground level, interact with your people. I mean, sort of, you don't really interact with them properly, it's not like actual dialogue, but you can see these people that have been living here, you can actually experience them and build these bonds properly in person. I just think that's a really neat mechanic to have in one of these, and the fact that it's third person too, so you can even see your lord, it's cool. It's a nice little feature that definitely didn't need to be here, but is here, and because it's early access, could definitely be built upon later, but I digress. It's there now, and it's really cool. In any case, for a game that looks like it'll be so chill to play long term, Manor Lords has a million different functions, but I hope that this has just sort of helped get you aligned with the way the game works, helped get you situated with it, at least for the start, nicely within your game, and get you started off in a way that will keep you from getting a little bit walled off early too. And past that, it's just sort of early hump of a city builder where you can be definitely a bit overwhelmed and confused at the very beginning, because in city builders they tend to just throw everything at you really quickly, or do the opposite and just don't tell you anything at all and don't give you access to anything early, and you decide to have to work it out either way for yourself. So hopefully this has helped you all out at least a little bit, and if you have any tips of your own for everyone else playing the game, feel free to leave them down in the comments below, of course. And of course we will be releasing more videos on Manor Lords in the coming days and maybe even weeks, depending on how much you guys actually like our content. So of course let us know what you want to see more of in the future. Like if you liked the video, subscribe and hit the notification bell for more, and most importantly, ladies and gentlemen, until next time, stay sweet. Josh, Cotton, and Hollow with the videos, dropping the humor like a hammer on your tippy toes, bringing entertainment on a daily arrangement to take our insanity and turn it into entertainment. Yes, I said entertainment twice, to reiterate that it is nice to look into your faces on a mostly daily basis when you let us in your homes to make the whole world our stage. Goodbye.